Okay, so let's have a look at extruding now. What I want to do is make sure that we extrude everything out right. So, because we've got a couple of interesting things to think about here. If I just nip into our reference images and have a look at low perspective, we can see that this area here actually overlaps this door frame here. Okay, so it's probably really safe to assume that this extrusion here that we're going to do and the ones around the windows are actually shallower than the one that's around the main archway and effectively around the main doorway. So we need to do kind of two extrusions here and just kind of watch how we do that. Okay. So I think the first thing to do would be to extrude all of them out the same distance, effectively. That would mean that there's uniformity across all of them. So let's make sure we're in face mode. So Control Tab and then click face, and then right click and shift right click all of the other little edges around here that we need to do. Okay, now this includes our big area here. Okay, so let's make sure we do all of it. And get to the door frame area here as well. All the way around the windows. Right click, shift right click. Okay, so we've got all of the areas here selected that we're gonna extrude. It might be worth just noting that we need to do the side one here as well. But I think what we'll do is we will shift and right click it. Just so it's done. Okay, so press 1 on the keyboard. Now we press extrude. Okay, and then immediately again what we do is we press the left mouse button. So we haven't extruded anything again. Okay. Or maybe Blender would in fact work. In fact, I'm just going to undo it. Let's undo that and just see if something else will happen. Okay, so undo that extrusion. Control Z or Command Z. And let's just try. Let's press E on the keyboard for extrude. And then let's... right, okay. Yeah, it's not going to work quite. It's going to do what I thought. The problem is, you see, that the area here isn't extruding out because it doesn't extrude out over all of the object. It just extrudes out on one axis, which is Y. So, assuming that we have extruded here. Okay, so let's undo that again. Right, so what we want to do then is to make sure that this is still joined, what we need to do is we need to extrude it and press our left mouse button. And then what we need to do is shift and right click this face so that it's not selected. Yeah. And then what we can do, if we press 3 on the keyboard, apart from on my keyboard, it stopped working. Okay. What 3 will do on the keyboard is will allow us to go into the side view. So I'm going to go into right, And then we just need to move these ever so slightly out. We can see we've got this big expanse here. That's just probably a bit too much. So again, if we press the Control and Shift buttons, you can just sort of ease these out ever so gently. Let's just try that again. So there's, you know, not too much of a kind of distance going on, but, you know, enough to see a bit of feature going on. Yeah, I think that's probably good. Let's have a look at that in object mode. So press Tab and then press Z. Okay, so we can see now, you know, there's a little bit of a kind of feature going on here. Okay. The other thing that we need to have a think about as well is zooming in, David. Okay, so I need to zoom in. Sorry, keys are going a bit mad there. The other thing that we need to think about was this area here. You remember we were talking about this being raised slightly higher around this area, so let's have a look at that. Let's press number 1 on the keyboard and press Z again, and then we need to be back in Tab, back in edit mode. So I want to basically deselect all of this stuff apart from these areas here. So let's press B to get the box select tool, but this time press your middle mouse button down and then select over the things we don't want to have selected. Okay, so I've done that once. Press B again, middle mouse button down, press B again, middle mouse button down, all the way across. And then when we get down into this bit here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm just going to right click, press the shift key and right click these two faces off. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude these out. Let's see if number 3 will work. Yay. I'm going to extrude these out a little bit more. So I'm going to press E on the keyboard, and I'm going to press, because these still go out really far, I'm going to press Control and Shift and let that just come out really gently. So let me just zoom in so you can see that what's happening there. Control Shift and then just push them out a little bit. Okay, so if we go back into number 1, we can see we've got a little bit of a problem here, which we'll go in and fix at some point soon. But effectively, if we zoom out, and then we press the Tab key to go into object mode, and then we press the Z key to go into shaded mode, and then spin around using the middle mouse button. We've got 2 different sides. We can see down here, despite the fact that there's a little bit of a problem with it at the moment, we've got this extra ridge across here, which is really lovely. Okay, if you want to see it in perspective mode, you can just press 5 on the keyboard, and we can see after being in orthographic mode for such a long time, we can see the effect of being in perspective mode. It's quite dramatic actually. So that's the general kind of principles really. Okay, let's just have a quick look in down here and see what's going on in this little pocket here. So they just need to really, these edges, these vertices just need to come down. So let's jump into number 1. Go into orthographic mode, which is number 5 on the keyboard. And zoom in a bit. So middle mouse button, but your wheel back and forwards lets you zoom, just to remind you. And to strafe around is the shift key plus your middle mouse button down. Okay, so I'm just going to control tab. Oh no, not sorry. I'm going to tab first of all into edit mode, and I'm going to control tab into vertex mode. And what I want to do first off is deselect everything. So press A to deselect. And then what I want to do is I want to just box select, so B on the keyboard around these two, and push them down into still on snap, so control shift, let's just try that again, there we go, control shift down, and then press A to deselect, and then I'm going to press B again, box select around these two, do the same, control and shift, and then about right, about there, and then I'm going to move this one here up as well, so I'm going to press A to deselect, and then I'm going to press B, box select, click and drag, and then I'm going to just press control and shift just to ease that up. If you don't want to use control and shift, you just need to push your magnet off, and it will move much freer if you do that. It won't snap like it was before. Okay, so now that they're fixed, I reckon that we're kind of about done for that little bit. Just zoom out and have another wee look. Press tab to get into object mode, Z to get into shaded mode, and middle mouse button around. Let's just click our cursor away, and then let's just have a quick peek in here. In fact, I might press 5 to go into perspective mode, because I like perspective mode. And then just see what we've got here. Not the best view from there actually, let's have a look this way. Okay, so we can see we've got our little ridges around here, and we've got our little ridge around here, and yeah, it's coming together. Next up, we'll be starting to extrude the windows in. Okay.